Hi, so in this video we're going to be taking a look at free market economies and the benefits and drawbacks to having a free market economy. So first, before looking at the pros and cons of a free market economy, we first need to figure out exactly what is a free market economy and define it. So in a free market economy, we just have the forces of supply and demand that allocate all the resources in the economy. So we don't have any government intervention at all in this economy. It is purely private businesses and consumers that dictate our price level and thus the allocation of resources. So if we were to draw a simple supply and demand diagram, our demand just comes from consumers, individuals, and our supply is going to come from, again, individuals, but we think of this as businesses which are run by individuals, and so this dictates purely the price level and the quantity, which in turn allocates our resources through supply and demand, and more specifically we may say through the price mechanism. That is how our resources are allocated. And so this economy makes use of the price mechanism and also the profit motive, which I'll get on to as a benefit and maybe a drawback of free market economies. So as we move on to the next part of this video, let's talk about some of the benefits of having a pure free market economy. One of these benefits is that we have high efficiency when we compare to other sorts of economies, and when we're thinking of comparing here, we're talking about command economies and mixed economies, and I'll get onto those in future videos. But so a key benefit is that we have efficiency gains on economic grounds, and we may see this coming through the price mechanism. And this is because in a free market economy, because we trust individual businesses and individual people to choose what is produced and what is demanded, only the goods and services which have the actual highest value, so the highest price, we could say, if we were to draw our supply and demand diagram, the goods that have the highest price are going to be produced in this economy, and they're going to be supplied for consumers, and this means that what consumers value the most is going to be provided, and this is through the price mechanism and through the profit motive, which says that businesses are going to choose to produce the goods that give them the most profit because these are the goods that have the highest prices. And so we have efficiency because in this economy we tend to produce what people actually want, and firms have an incentive to try and produce these goods. So the second benefit is sort of linked to this, that we have innovation through the profit motive, and this isn't necessarily producing what people are demanding right now, but it's figuring out what people are going to demand once we produce it and coming up with a good that will be in demand once we produce it, and this is sort of innovation. And on top of this, we could say that we have risk-taking behavior in this economy because, say, individuals like Elon Musk will be saying, okay, in the future we're going to have demand for electric cars, self-driving cars, or for Neuralink software or whatever, and he can take a huge risk by investing lots of money and time into building this business, knowing that if it pays off, he's going to get huge profits from this, and this is the profit motive. And as we've seen with Tesla, Elon Musk is a very rich man because of this. So this is one of the benefits of a free market economy, that because we have this motive that people are driven to succeed, and we have the ability for business owners to make almost infinite sums, we have lots of innovation that people want to come up with the next big product and profit from it individually, and as a society we benefit from these new technologies because, well, society is constantly being driven forward by new innovation by business owners. A third benefit we can think about is that there's increased choice for consumers, and this sort of comes from the drawback of having a command economy where a government provides everything, where the government would maybe just produce one good. It would, say, produce one brand of car, as we saw in, say, East Berlin after the World War, and the government has no real reason to offer you different choices of cars. It says, okay, people need to get from point A to point B, so we'll just produce one type of car. Whereas in reality, consumers like to have a bit of choice. Do I want a big car with lots of seats? Do I want an energy efficient car? Do I want a certain color of car, etc.? And when we have decentralized markets that have lots of producers that are trying to get ahead of each other, we have this innovation, and so each business tries to do something slightly different, and so consumers have additional choice, and this increases their utility because they can choose what they individually actually want. And so the fourth benefit will come from increased freedom for citizens. We tend to see with free market economies, because it's all decentralized and individuals can make their own businesses, they can demand their own goods and have increased choice. What comes with this tends to be freedom in terms of starting up your own business, but also political freedoms we tend to see that may not directly come from the price mechanism, but when we have a government-led command economy, this does correlate very strongly with reduced economic freedom, and so this can obviously be very detrimental to individual utility if we don't have freedom for individuals. So this is another benefit we can't discount. And there are lots of other perhaps side benefits, but these benefits tend to be the key ones if you were going to discuss the key benefits. And I'm sure you could think of other ones. There are lots of pros and cons to different economic systems, but I will get on to a couple of key problems with a free market economy now. The first of which is going to be that there's great inequality. In this video, we're perhaps thinking of just a pure free market economy. There's no government at all, so there's no taxation, no tax. There's no free healthcare. So in the UK, you have the National Health Service. You don't have any free healthcare for if you get ill, and you don't have any welfare benefits, any unemployment benefits. So in a pure free market economy, there are huge inequalities. You'd have people like Elon Musk, as I used before, who are making billions of dollars, and you have other people who are unemployed, don't have a skill set to become employed, and they are just living in poverty. And so this is an issue, and it's why we don't actually see any pure free market economies. In reality, we have mixed economies in the vast majority of countries, where we do have income tax to redistribute income. We have free healthcare in many countries, so that if you get ill, you aren't disadvantaged because of that. And we tend to have unemployment benefits and a number of different welfare states which help to reduce the inequality. They don't completely reduce inequality, but if we have a complete free market economy, we're going to have seriously high levels of inequality. So that's a key problem that will reduce social welfare. The second of these problems with a free market economy I've sort of lumped together as one point, but because they're all interrelated, and these are market failures. Where we have markets, we tend to have that markets fail, and these market failures require correction. And in a mixed economy where we have taxation and we have welfare and all of these things, we tend to be able to correct them, but if we have no government, we can't correct market failures. So I've mentioned one of these market failures in missing markets, and this comes down to the fact that we do have the profit motive in a free market economy, and we only provide a good if it offers us a profit. So consider healthcare for some rare disease, healthcare, and let's say that it's a very rare heart condition, and the operation costs hundreds of thousands of pounds to actually implement. You require some very advanced technology and to undertake this operation, or whatever it takes, and it's just not profitable for a firm to undertake this, even if they could charge whoever needs the healthcare hundreds of thousands that would cover their cost, but it's just not really going to, because it's a rare health condition, they're not really going to be able to cover their costs with the few people that could afford this healthcare, and not to mention all the research and development that may have to go into coming up with that treatment. And so Research and development is another thing that the government tends to give huge grants to research various things that are going to help society as a whole, but at individual level, individual businesses don't tend to find them profitable. So in a free market economy, there are a number of things that may not be undertaken. So that's one potential missing market. We can think of other market failures which link into missing markets, say, for example, pollution, where this has a negative externality. When a business pollutes the air, this is giving off negative externalities on potentially everyone in the world around them. And what we should have is a market for this pollution, and we should be charging the firm that is producing the pollution the cost of this pollution to internalize the externality. But I'll get onto that in a future video. It's perhaps more of an advanced topic. But there are lots of other market failures. We can have monopolies, which can very adversely affect the utility of individuals in an economy. We can have a variety of issues with a free market economy, and these are the issues that require government correction, and they are the reason why we do not have any free market economies, because people have tended to find that they negatively affect individual welfare. So what may be a misconception is that free markets, when you're studying economics, that these increase efficiency. Free markets are fantastic and they're much better than command economies, and that may be the case, but in reality we do have free markets in most countries, but we balance these off with a public sector that provides these missing markets. We have taxes, welfare systems, and so we do not have any free market economies. In reality, we do have mixed economies where we have some government intervention and some free market and a private sector. So that will wrap up this video. Please do leave a like if it was at all useful. That would be very helpful for me. Do subscribe for future videos and check out the playlist for a video on command economies and maybe on mixed economies